I am George Victory, musician, vocalist. And when I want to get serious culture, to wriggle my toes, to spin my head, make me feel right, I tune into CultureShare.
George, I think that you are a versatile musician, a versatile singer. I hate to categorize you because...
Thanks for the compliments anyway.
I mean, you're so versatile. It seems as anything your finger rests on that pulls a string and creates a musical sound, I mean, you'll play it.
Oh, yeah.
How did it all start for you? Were you a singer before a player, or?
Well, it started from my parents, My father and my mother, they sang in church. My father used to sing on a cruise ship also, My mother, she was like a vocal trainer for the, in Trinidad for the, those cultural activities, all those old folk songs, So I sit around and listen to everybody sing, and then when they're not looking, I'll go in a corner and try my little thing, what I mean? And I had an uncle from St. Vincent. He used to play a box guitar, and every time he leave for work, I would sneak in his room, climb through. I had where I used to unlatch his window, climb in and put his guitar. The guitar was this big, to me. I was a kid. All out here was guitar, and I started playing one string at a time. It sounds good. Then I started singing like, the Jesus Say I Am the Way, because that was my smart move. Because if your parents see you playing music at that time, they say, oh, that's a vagabond thing, what I mean? So if they hear me singing a gospel song and playing, they will say, good boy, So I went ahead with that. Yeah, that's my son, what I mean? So I started from there playing a guitar. But really and truly, I was more into the singing at the time. And then I started playing guitar with Bert Billy and the Jets, then traveled with Sparrow extensively as lead guitarist. Then I forgot about singing, forgot totally about singing. And then Fatback Band called me, started back doing some background vocals there, then with Jimmy Castor and these different people. And things just started building. But what I think is being on the road with Fatback and Benny King and all these different people, that was my schooling, vocal training, because I remember doing sessions and they would say, oh baby, and I say, oh baby, and they say, hey, we don't want that Caribbean thing, it's over. So I had to train myself to sound differently, and then the breathing exercises is entirely different from when you're singing in Trinidad, so it was a good help for me. Then we went on to the Commodore's North American tour. And then Lionel Richie would always say, man, you got a throat, man. You better start using it, what I mean? So things just started happening, what I mean? But I stick with both of them, voice and whatever instrument I could put my hands on, survival.
Were you somewhat afraid then that if you had to come back to, say, play Calypso, that you may have forgotten the rutical aspect of playing it?
Let me give you this joke. Well, when I came back into the studio for the first time after leaving the Commodore's tour, North American tour with Fatback, they called me in to do a session with myself, Jeff Medina, a few of the cats who were playing around, Frankie McIntosh, So I sat around at first and listened to everybody, how they're attacking it, what I mean? Then I went into the bathroom and I started to just tell myself I'm in Trinidad for Carnival, and I started to do all kind of things in the bathroom just to get back that vibe, what I mean? Then I came out and listened some more, took up my guitar and started playing, fell right back into it. But it was a kind of hesitant move for me to just stick up the guitar and, okay, record and start strumming Calypso, because I had that funk in between it. But it helped, because while we were playing the first track, somebody in the control room said, hey, I like that pattern you're playing, Victory. I said, yeah, okay. So then I started just rubbing it in, what I mean? So it created a style, so anytime they hear my guitar on any track, people could say, yeah, that's Victory's track, But
were you the one who played that very rocky sounding guitar on Sparrow Slave on the last album?
Mm-hmm.
I said, that is Victory.
Yeah, man, yeah. That was it.
I said, that's a Victory sound.
Yep, that was me. I was surprised that he accepted it too. I said, wow, but it went on pretty good from there.
You made the semifinals in Trinidad for Carnival
Yeah.
1994, and that's a big thing for George Victory, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, that must have made you feel like a real Trini.
Yeah, real Trini, man. Adopted again, The first night I performed in San Fernando, Skinner Park. That's when the Calypso tent that I sang in Spectacular went down there. 5 minutes before I went on stage, it hit me. Oh shucks, I'm in Skinner's Park. That's a testing ground. It's either they throw mud on you or hit you with orange peel in your face or something, you know what I mean? I walked on stage and there were these ladies in front of the stage with big pieces of wood in their hands. And they're saying, you better sing good, and they're beating the end of the stage, But then I started singing and, just focusing the energies on the right thing, Singing to them most of all, And then they put the wood down on the side and they started doing like this, you know what I mean? When I came off stage, they came around in the back and they lift me up and things. So that was my baptism into the soca arena, After that, things went, pretty well after that.
I want to make an analogy here for you, George. The musician who reads music as opposed to the one who plays by ear. Which one is more beneficial to the art form?
They both have their ups and downs, because you'll find you might go into a Broadway play and you don't have enough time to do rehearsal. So then you find the reading helps in that aspect. But when you want to get the real soul out of any musician, it has to come from the heart, not from the paper. It must be from the heart. Most of the musicians that we look up to in the music world, they are no great readers,
Paul McCartney can't read music.
There you go. Look at Charlie Parker, Carlos Santana. He ain't no big music reader. Even my man George Benson. All these cats, but they know the basics and they know what they need to know musically, theoretically. After that, everything comes from the heart, the ears, from the fingers, from your toes, That's what music is, because music was here before, the manuscript and everything, So that's where you have to take it from. It's a godly gift and just use it right.
We are yet to see a Calypsonian walk up on stage and sing a calypso. I mean, I'm talking about a recognized Calypsonian, sing a calypso with a bass guitar, rhythm guitar in his hands. Would George Victory be doing that one day? To me, you know why I ask you that? To me, because
you're a wicked guy. You're a wicked guy, man.
Because to me, even though you're singing and you without your guitar, to me it's like a father, you're missing your son.
Yeah. Most of the times, I'm singing with the microphone, and between, like in the band chorus where I don't have to sing, I catch myself doing like this, And Joey Lewis in Trinidad told me about that. He said, you're missing your guitar. When you're on stage, think like a Calypsonian. You can't think like a Calypsonian and think like a musician. If you have to think like a Calypsonian musician, carry a guitar on stage. So guess what?
You doing that soon?
You see it up there, right? You see it on stage, right? Yeah,
with a victory, there could be no losses.
No, man. I'll find my way. I'll find my way.
George, just great chatting with you,
Yeah,
man.
same here, man.
All right, one love.
One love, brother.
Keep
And I'm just taking this competition and, having fun. Make sure the audience enjoy everything. It's no competition for me. It's just performance with love. You know what I mean?
One love, George.
Yeah, same here, brother. G.B.T.V, y'all. Peace.